And that's definitely a time also of a change of generations and change of certain new type of entrepreneurs coming. And now the question is for Estonia and for Europe, have we enough these kind of people who can take over and who are more able to operate in global environment of electronic connections and relations, and that's who are much more able to adjust to these lessons what we have had now, and definitely our hope is in younger and new generation of entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lundgren, whose era will start after the 2008 crisis?
Well, I think that we'll see a turnaround in late 2009. Turnaround, which doesn't mean that it's over. It's a turnaround. But anyway, what I would say, I have great expectation of both Estonia and other new vital countries in the European Union in order to, I mean, the old guard of protectionism in one way or another that exists, without pointing to any country. I could name one. I wouldn't do that as a civil servant of Sweden now, of course not. But I think that you have a great role to play together with Sweden and together with Denmark and Finland and so on in order to stop this as well, because there is a risk. And also there you can lean on the Swedish experience in a way. In the mid-70s we had a cost crisis in Sweden. Our shipyards, Sweden had a lot of shipyards at that time. And the Swedish governments, I came into parliament in 1976, and the non-socialist government at that time wanted to keep shipyards, so they pumped a lot of billions of Swedish kronor into the shipyards, so much that they could have paid every worker a sizable sum not to do anything. That would have been even better. They built 500,000 tons gas tankers that weren't sold, etc., etc. And then we lost everything anyway. So there is an example of saying how you can throw good money after bad. If the car industry have a problem, to be honest, they have products that people don't want. That's the problem. They have to recapitalize. They might have new owners. Sometimes bankruptcy is a good thing. It's a good thing. Constructive destroying structures are not working anymore. And then we'll have a new car industry, hopefully better for the environment as well. So there's a lot of good things to do as well.
Thank you. Mr. Munkhammar, yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Just very brief, I thought that I would say that, first of all, when we do bailouts from governments in various ways, which we need to do now in the financial sector, it is, of course, also not only creating bad incentives for some of the financial institutions, but it's also a slippery slope, of course, which is illustrated here by the discussions about the various other industries and the car industry in the US, because they will, of course, lobby very hard to say, why should the banks receive and not we? We're creating the new jobs and we have the real workers, etc., etc. So there might be various reasons for them to say that we need money as well. But you have to resist that, because you have to consistently argue that the financial industry is the heart of the economy. So that is fundamentally different from all the other industries, because otherwise you're on the slippery slope and you will have to spend the state budget several times, I think, and you will have enormous deficits, and you will, by the way, also save old factories and jobs that should go away because of the creative destruction in the economy. So we should definitely avoid that, and we should avoid, extremely important to avoid the protectionist tendencies. As a private entrepreneur and a private author, I could, of course, name France, but I wouldn't do that. So I would just point to the protectionist tendencies in many countries and many places that exist, and they have to be resisted. And so to respond to the question, I think that if we do resist the protectionist tendencies, and if we can do the crisis management and keep an eye on the long-term free market structural reforms, I'm entirely convinced that the next age will be golden age number 2. Because we will continue building new prosperity. The curve will continue upwards as long as we keep the fundamentals of the economy free and continue liberating the economy. Because, just to conclude, the European fundamentals have been improving for a long time, not least thanks to Eastern and Central Europe joining the European Union. We've had an increase in economic freedom and an increase in institutional competition between countries of Europe, so they've had to participate in a race to the top of reforms, which has been very positive, so that, and we will continue enjoying benefits from that.
Thank you. Actually, our time is over, but maybe Rain, some words, some comments.
Yeah, probably I'm not in the position to summarize what has been said, but just to add another maybe thought is that financial markets are not dead, investment banks are not dead. Of course, it has been reshaped the world a little bit, and also there has been a lot of, not a lot of, but several times mentioned the Icelandic banking system and the crisis there, but there are other countries in Europe, also inside the European Union, which his financial sector has prospered and is still not in very bad shape, like Luxembourg, for example, of course, which needs some changes in their regulation. But that's exactly one of these countries where the regulation has brought this kind of very export-capable sector to the country. And so I also believe that that could be one of these inside of services sector. Viljar Arakas today will talk a bit more about it, but inside of services sector there are financial services, and with good regulation, not over-regulation, but with very good and clever regulation, that could be and will be certainly in the whole world be one of these sectors which will develop faster than general economy.
Thank you. Mr. Sutt, please, very shortly. But
yeah, I just wanted to add that it is a good opportunity for a change, and there are plenty of examples in the world, but if you miss this opportunity and keep afloat enterprises which are not competitive, then you will actually suffer for long, and Japan is one example where it has been just kept up, and the faster we go it through, the better it is, and the integration what we have with Scandinavia, which belongs to the top league of world economies in terms of competitiveness, gives us a huge advantage, and that is in our hands to utilize this advantage.
thank you, gentlemen.